Welcome back to the Startup Storytelling Podcast by Lean Rocket Lab, where we dive deep into the real, raw, and often unpredictable journey of entrepreneurs. I am your host, Brandon Marken, and I am joined by the co-hostess with the mostest. Was that better? Fantastic. Alex Masten.
Yeah, we realized we didn't say my name last time because I had interrupted you with the fantastic that I had over. Yeah. It's
we were having too much fun. We forgot to introduce you. So she put a lot of pressure.
Anonymous co-host.
Yeah, she put a lot of pressure on me to say that, but
no, I did not. I'm excited to be back. As the college kids say, we're back our second episode, and I'm really excited today because we've got. I think for Jackson, Michigan, an entrepreneur that I think a lot of people know and admire and find inspirational, and the truest serial entrepreneur there is. So jacked about that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Welcome, Kim Gamez, or as she's now known as
Kimmy G.
Kimmy G on the internet.
Welcome, Kimmy G.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
This is gonna be fun.
We're so excited to have you. Kim and I our paths have crossed so many times over the years as entrepreneurs. I've gotten to sort of watch from a distance and sometimes close to your story and your journey and all the companies and the successes. And, you know, as we like to say, you know, we've known you before you were Kimmy G.
I was in the conversation about when the Kimmy G happened.
Yeah, it was like, it's like a whole Jenny from the block situation.
It is. I know. I know.
Yeah.
But anyways, we digress. Kim, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
No, I'm so excited to be here, and it's so nice seeing you both.
Yes, you too. You too.
I think that the thing I'm most excited about for people to hear your story today is it is a truly nonlinear, wild, cool story of a person who I would say is like a serial entrepreneur. Like if you got dropped on a desert island with some local tribe and I came back 5 years later, you would be running a successful business on the island, making a living, you know, selling seashells or something.
There's
to the
always an
islanders.
Opportunity, Brandon.
I would have put it past her,
You know?
honestly.
So I think there's just certain people in the world that like they are born entrepreneurial and creative and innovative. And I think your story is people are gonna be like, are you kidding me? You actually did that and it worked. It's just so cool. So we're excited to hear about it today. Is that a fair assessment?
I don't know, but thank you. I'm literally blushing.
So
I would agree. Like Brandon said, Kim, we're really excited to have you, and your journey is remarkable. You've started and sold some businesses at a very young age, and so starting with real estate and a restaurant. So I'd kind of like to know, like, being so young, like talk about like how young you were when you made the first purchase of your business or real estate, whichever one. And kind of what your mindset was around that and what made you want to take that leap at such a young age.
Yeah, so when I graduated from high school, I had a graduation party, and I remember I got it was just over $2,000 in cash gifts from my parents' friends that showed up and gave me money. And I remember my parents, who are real estate investors, they had like around 30 properties in and around our town. My dad goes, you know, you could put a down payment on a house with that. And I'm like, I could? Well, okay. Like, I didn't realize at the time that 18-year-olds didn't buy, you know, investment properties, but I thought it was way cooler than like trying to go buy like a designer bag or something. And so, yeah, at 18, I bought our first duplex. And yeah, the same year I met my husband and fell in love with this, you know, short little Mexican man who changed my world. We got married at 19, pregnant on my wedding night. And yeah, literally like 9 months to the day from the day we got married. We had a bouncing baby boy. And then my husband, who had worked in restaurants and to put himself, you know, through college, he was born in Mexico, you know, came to Texas, and then he ended up, I don't know how, getting to Michigan, but that's where we met. And he had always told my family that, like, I would love to own a restaurant one day. And so my parents, because they're in the real estate business, my dad had listed where the Crazy Cowboy is at now downtown. And he was like, I think you could buy it under a land contract. And I'm like, well, what's that? And he's like, you can probably put little to no money down, buy this business and we can probably find enough, things around town to like fill it up, like furniture and what have you. So I was like, okay. And then we looked, and crazy enough that you can actually get a liquor license to sell alcohol at 18 years old. And so I was like, oh, you mean I get a liquor license so I can buy like cases of liquor from the state of Michigan, but I'm not supposed to drink it? So I was like, the best gig as a 20-year-old. Anyway, I mean, like, what was I telling you? Like, in the name of science, like in R&D, I had to test.
R&D.
I was not really drinking underage. It was for the business. And yeah, so we had no idea what we were doing. I mean, obviously, like, we had no idea. Like, when we launched, I know the first day, like, we ran out of food, and we like just put a message on the door, like, thank you, Jackson, but we ran out of rice and beans, and you can't have Mexican food without rice and beans. And so, and I'm like, come back at 3 p.m. Like, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, we had just no idea what we were doing. But we
come back after I go to Walmart.
Yeah.
come back after we cook.
We promise we'll be back.
We promise we'll be back. And people just kept coming back, and we just kept listening to the customers, what they wanted. Like, they wanted entertainment. So we're like, okay, we'll have like a DJ. And, just honestly, like, now I know that's customer discovery and like listening to your customers. But at the time, I'm like, well, the customers will tell you what they want if you just listen. And so, like, let's just ask our customers. And so we had that business for 17 years. Over the course, we kept investing our taco money into real estate. So now we have just under 150 properties in and around Jackson, most of them actually in Napoleon and Grass Lake, all down Brooklyn Road, which is kind of crazy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, my insurance company's like, which one on Brooklyn Road? But anyway, and then we had another restaurant, and it was when I had that restaurant and banquet facility, I was helping my niece plan her quinceañera. So I'm not sure, I think you both know what a quinceañera is, but when a girl turns 15 in the Hispanic culture, they have these big celebrations. And I was like, why is there nothing to help families plan online? And so that's actually how I initially met Brandon, I think, because I was like, I think there's a place for like an app to exist where you can help families plan these big celebrations.
So before we go to Mi Padrino, because that's a really cool part of the story, I just want to like circle back. I mean, are there a lot of like 18, 19, 20-year-old, girls, women at that point, like buying investment properties, buying restaurants? I'm curious what the percentages are on that. I feel like you were pretty unique doing that. Just in general, that's pretty big leap. Yeah,
I didn't know that wasn't normal.
Right.
I was raised by entrepreneurs, and so it was just like, oh, I can do this. Like, and I kind of joke now, even looking back, because people are like, Kim, you just think outside the box. I'm like, girl, I was never taught the box. So I don't know that I'm thinking outside the box. And I don't know I'm necessarily thinking creatively. That's just the way that I think. Because I wasn't ever taught that you weren't supposed to. You were supposed to go to college. Okay. I was like, I'll go to beauty school, but what do you mean? I'm eventually probably going to own a salon one day, right? And I realized you could make more money selling real estate. So I dropped out of beauty school. I am a beauty school dropout. Cue the music. But yeah.
Story.
Yeah.
But so like it wasn't like your parents gave you a bunch of money, but they definitely gave you different thinking. They gave you like an entrepreneurial mindset and like a business mindset and just a risk mindset. Do you think was that part of it?
Well, we were always told like go to college, so you didn't have to do it the hard way.
Yeah.
But I watched them do it quote unquote the hard way, but I also saw my mom at every single one of my basketball games. I saw my dad be able to like buy that boat or do these cool things because of what he was able to do. And I just love that, it's not easy, but it's like, what do I want to say? There's this puzzle almost that you're figuring out with entrepreneurship. It's like, why is something working? Let's dig into that. Or why isn't something working? And I just like loved that. Like, I think I learned that from my parents, but they were never go and start your own business. They always said, go to college because it's easier that way. And I just thought it looked so much cooler to do it on your own.
Man,
aren't you so
cool.
glad you took that way?
I mean, I think
Most
so.
days.
Most days.
There's a lot of days where I'm like, what?
Honestly, it's so funny because like I'll be on LinkedIn and I'll see a post that they're like, head of marketing. And I'm like, to get a salary? Like
I know, right?
And benefits and just like clock in and out. Wow, that sounds great.
Some days, my buddy that owns a business always says to me, he's like, I think I like to be the part-time maintenance guy at the church. And I was like, yeah, dude, I get that. Like, I just want to like show up for a few hours,
Yeah.
do some work and go home. I hear that.
Well, with the restaurants, I think I was talking about this earlier that, there were years, not months, years that our waitresses and our cooks made more money than we did.
Right.
But it was so great to know that we were building this thing that not only was putting food on the table for our customers, but food on the table for our staff. And so we're like, we can't give up because what about so-and-so? Then we're like giving up on them too. And that, they would be out of work. And so, I don't know, it's just really cool to create something and then see people love it.
So I think we're going to hear that in all of your stories, but you have this purposefulness about your people, your team, and like what you're willing to do to protect your team. Probably nowhere was that more evident than with Mi Padrino and with what happened with COVID. And so why don't you just tell us the story of Mi Padrino? That's how we first met. You were launching the app and trying to do this crazy thing. And I believed in you 100% from the day we met that you were going to do it.
No, true story.
True
so I
story.
think so when I
This
met
is going to suck right now. This is tough.
So when I met Brandon, so mind you, I had only had the restaurant, which I was not qualified to purchase. So they were like, you need to put together, a pitch deck, a business plan to get investment for this app. And I'm like, business plans look so boring. Like, why would anyone want to read this? And so I'm like, instead of doing like a 10, 20 page business plan, because in a quinceañera, these girls with huge gowns and there are these courts and there's all this like fun different things, whatever. And I'm like, it's almost like we have to educate the people too in this business plan. I'm like, let's make it a magazine. And so I don't know if you remember this.
gosh.
I was like,
Oh, yeah.
so
That's
it was
amazing.
like quinceañera, Mi Padrino is like with a girl on the front cover. And then you open it up and it's like in the news, blah, 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 blah. The target
gosh,
market.
that's amazing.
Pictures everywhere. And I was like, because again, I did not know that was like what you weren't supposed to do. And I remember I came to the guys because I was like, oh, these guys they've launched an app. And so they really know what to do. So I went and they're like, Kim, nope, you're not. We need to do a pitch deck. And I remember Brandon's like, girl, I got you. I'll help you out. So, so I took that and again, just not knowing what I don't know. And I'm like, I'm just going to launch this app. Maybe we'll get 100 users this year. Ended up getting 50,000 users in the first 6 months, got 150,000 users the second, had 1 million users year 3. By the end of the 5 years, we had 3 million users, and it eventually was acquired by David's Bridal, which was a blessing. But no, like year 4, the pandemic hit, and we were an event planning platform for the Hispanic market, so no one was having events. And instead of laying off my team, I saw an opportunity. One of our manufacturers for the dresses in Vietnam was like, Kim, if you need anything, like mass-wise, because we use mass in Vietnam all the time, I can make you some. And so I remember reaching out on Facebook and saying, if anybody's looking for masks, let me know. I can connect you with a supplier. Flooded. My inbox was flooded. And so instead of just like passing her information, I was like, ding, opportunity. I will play this middleman. And so I went back to my team and I said, what if we sell masks? And they were like, Kim, you're crazy. This is only going to last like a couple weeks. We did not know it was going to last years. And so we spun up a website, Do You Masks? We ended up selling just, almost $500,000 worth of masks in and around our community. We put masks on every single kid in every district in Jackson County. And that was able to pay my staff to get us through the pandemic and ultimately to the time that we were acquired.
That's crazy.
Sorry.
So just to go back, I mean, I think that resiliency and whatnot is like in your DNA, and it's a super cool part of what makes you a great entrepreneur. But I also think it's the story of Mi Padrino and just what you did. And you got to understand, like, where we live in the world, people don't start funded tech companies. It's just not a thing in Jackson. And so I was working with some guys and we were trying to launch an app and we had raised some money, and I'm meeting with Kim. We're early on. We're like crashing and burning. I'm meeting with her. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work, and she's like, I think it might. And then her app takes off and gets all these users. And it was cool to see somebody do it. And, it might sound, if you live out in Silicon Valley or whatever, some of these big tech cities, like those things happen a lot. But in Jackson, Michigan, you were crazy for doing that. And then so I just think, tell us a little bit about how you started it, what you did, what you learned about customer discovery, what you learned about raising money and hiring people, and, building a marketplace software app is probably one of the hardest things there is to do. I mean, building a marketplace app, for anyone who knows, is almost impossible because you have this chicken and egg dilemma. You have this dilemma of crossing the chasm of having enough users for it to matter, and you just did it all. And so talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So again, I'm a 6 foot tall, very white Gittinga in the middle of nowhere, Michigan. And at the time I had 4 kids. So I swear like every business we had started, I ended up pregnant again. I don't know why it happens. Maybe it's because I like tequila. I always blame the tequila and my Mexican husband on the reason why now we have 5 kids, because once we invested every penny of our savings, sold our other restaurant to invest in this crazy idea that was Mi Padrino, I found out I was pregnant with baby number 5. And the whole plan was I'm going to have to raise capital for this company, and no one is going to invest in me with a baby bump. And literally, like, and they're going to be like, you have how many kids? Like, I just was like, there is going to be no way that I'm going to do this. But here we are. We might as well try, because now we've invested into this. And so, finding the right people is key. All of my businesses, you just want to make sure you have the right people in the right seats. And so, because I couldn't afford them, I'm like, how can I just bring these people on as contractors, pay them what I could? And then eventually when I did raise we raised, I think the second round was just over $1 million. And I was able to bring those kind of unicorn employees on full time. But yeah, just leaning into the customers. Like for customer discovery, I could have just asked the Gamez family. My husband has 12 siblings. I could have easily just went through the family and said, "What would you use this? Do you like this?" They would have just said yes. And so instead, I was like, where can I get in front of people who don't know me, who will give me great feedback? And so I flew to Houston, went to a Quinceañera Expo, stood out like a sore thumb, me walking around, again, 6 foot tall. I have a bun, so I'm normally like 6'6", and just asked people, like, not ask them about my platform, but how are you planning your party? What are you doing to organize Padrinos, which is like sponsors of your event? What kind of things are you buying? Where are you buying them at? How did you hear about that thing? Like, was it online? Was it like from a friend? And so just tried to absorb all of that. And thank goodness I didn't build Mi Padrino the way that I thought the Gamez family would use it. After I went to Houston, I came back and I was like, guys, we can't build it that way. Like, not only will it not work, we will offend this community if we list things a certain way. And so, yeah, I just literally leaned on the customers. And then I had a bunch of guys, like almost our entire team were non-Latinos, and not by choice, but it actually helped us lean into data. Like, what buttons are they pushing? What things are they doing? Because we could have made assumptions that they're going to do all of these, but like the data would show us that the pink button, or the green button or whatever. And so we just really leaned on what the users were asking for, what they were actually doing. And that ultimately is what helped the success of that platform.
So Kim, can you talk a little bit, because I think one of the things that entrepreneurs get hung up is asking their friends and family for advice, not going out and doing what you did Can you explain why you decided to do that mentally, like that shift in mindset of, I'm not just going to take the word of the Gamez family, I'm going to go out, I'm going to fly out to a different area and ask. Why did you decide to do that in the moment?
Well, I originally, when I was in Jackson, when I met Brandon, my local attorney said, you should talk to the folks at Spark in Ann Arbor, because they have this great boot camp and accelerator and things that you could participate in. And I was like, okay. So I went there with my idea, took this boot camp, and they said, you have to go and get 60 interviews. And they're the ones, because I would have, because again, I didn't know. So I would have probably just leaned on my friends and family and not gotten comfortable with the uncomfortable. And they said, no, you have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. You have to go and talk to people who would use your platform that are not your friends. You want them to tell you that your baby's ugly. Yeah. You don't want everyone to tell you that your baby's beautiful. Yeah. And so, but I'm an overachiever. And so instead of 60, I'm like, where could I get 100 people to talk to me? And because I don't have any time, where can I talk to 100 people like in one weekend or something? Right. And so that's where I was like, oh, there's this Quinceañera Expo in Houston, book ticket, fly there. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I awkwardly talked to every woman that came into the bathroom. Could you imagine?
Oh my gosh,
I mean, I'd be like, excuse me, can I, hi, congratulations. Like, it was so awkward.
That
like,
is so
terrible.
Funniest.
How are you planning your quinceañera? I'm like, I just so weird, but I'm so glad I did it. Because I just kept telling myself, these people don't know you. Right. Right. At the time, like, no one knew me online. So I'm like, nobody, who cares, whatever. And now I'm so thankful I did that, because that is now not only transformed what I did there, but also now my current company. And then every company here forward, if I ever start another one, like, customer discovery is just so key.
Oh gosh.
I mean, that was like
such good advice.
I remember those times, and that was amazing, because you had told me about Spark and boot camp, and then I think I went there shortly after for a project, and then learned about just that, feedback loop and customer discovery and lean startup and all that stuff. And that was really the origin of Lean Rocket Lab. As I
Right.
was like, man, I want to bring this back to all of my friends and people in Jackson, like this way of starting a business.
I
that-
remember when I ran into you, you're
Yeah.
like, I want to take that to Jackson. And I was like, please do.
So I think that was an amazing part of that story in that launch. And then over the next few years, every time I saw you sort of on the entrepreneurial circuit, you were like winning pitch events and raising money. And how did you get so good? A huge part of a startup, whether you're going to buy a business, launch a business, do anything in business, at some point you're probably going to have to get capital. And the bigger thing you want to do, the more you need and the different ways that you need it. But how did you get so good at raising money and getting investment and really like just being, you were winning pitch competitions all over the country. Every time I saw you, you were like holding up a big check.
Yeah, holding up a big check.
So what was your, how people listen to this that are maybe thinking about going and raising money and doing that? What made you so good at it?
Well, it's
Other than just being so believable and amazing. What
No,
was your secrets?
It's the whole like selling without selling, just being completely authentic, whether it's raising capital, whether it's talking and bringing on, A+ players to your team, whether it's posting on social media and trying to get followers and go viral, just being yourself. And so I thought I was solving a real problem for a huge market. And so I just said that, and it wasn't easy, even though it looks easy because I'm all about sharing my wins. But I had investors ask me, how I was going to have be able to like continue with the company after I had my baby. Like they only wanted to talk about me being pregnant. And so I was like, I have to go into a room where people won't look at my belly, that will look at my business, will look at me as a human. And I mean, I have stories from that, like me winning a pitch competition with my boob out, nursing my baby. True
That
story.
story's a good one. Maybe
Yeah,
we
it's
can
a
do
good
that
story.
one.
But
That's a good story. I've heard that one.
I'm going to leave that one alone.
yeah,
That's a good one, though.
I mean, we don't have to talk about it. I don't want to make the men in the audience feel uncomfortable. But no, literally, and it was cringy, and I wanted to die the whole time. But I'm so glad I went. But yeah, it was just like, just tell the authentic story. And just like what I'm doing now on social media, we were talking about that before the podcast started, that you just have to throw so much at the wall, and that's the same thing. You have to pitch to so many investors. It ends up being kind of a math equation. I knew after 10, no's, I might get a maybe. And out of those 10 maybes, I might get a, yeah, let's go into due diligence. And out of those 10 people in due diligence, one person might actually write me a check. Right. So it was just like, how many people can I pitch to? How many people can I get in front of at every pitch competition and just have them believe in me to take that next step? And raising funds is just like, or even like bringing on a partner, or at the end when we were looking for somebody to acquire us, it's a lot like dating. Right. You have to like get to so I only wanted them to just get it excited enough to want to take me on that second date. I wasn't telling them, let's get married.
Right.
Like I wasn't saying like, hey, let me get naked and show you everything this day one. I was saying, hey, I am a really great person to be around. You should get to know me.
Yeah.
And that's where like, I didn't hard sell them. I didn't want to close them. And I think just in general, whether it was a pitch competition or investors, I think they appreciated that. And I was able to get them past like looking at me just as this like cute party planning app, that there was a real opportunity. I was a real founder that they could believe in. And yeah, I think that's the model, but I'm not sure.
I would agree.
So I think a part of your story that has always been the most impactful to me is you did this thing that was sort of against the odds. You started a marketplace tech company, you got a bunch of raised a bunch of money, you were succeeding in all the metrics, and you were really on the verge of it being crazier. And you still had a cool ending with it, with David's Bridal. But in the middle of that, if you're doing a SWOT analysis, there's no way you'd put global pandemic shuts down all events for all time ever, and I have an event planning business online. Mm-hmm. And you didn't give up. Like, fought through it, figured out a couple pivots, eventually launched a new business. Just talk about that and where did that even come from and how did you do that? And just, that's a really cool part of your story.
It goes back to, even with the restaurants, the only reason why those restaurants were successful is because of our team, not because of Ugo and I, my husband and I. It was because of the team, the servers in the front, the bartenders, the cooks, in the back, even the guy who was like the one that was mopping, everyone played a role in our success. And so with Mi Padrino, like I couldn't have given up because like this team was counting on me to get us forward. And because we were in such, I felt like a rocket ship, like we were doing not everything right. We made really bad mistakes, but we learned from them, which actually helped, point us in the right direction. But it was like, guys, we can either give up or there's an opportunity. Who's in? We've proven that we are really good at advertising. We've proven that we can do like an e-com platform. Here's an opportunity. Hopefully it's just temporary. I will lead the charge there. You guys can make sure the lights stay on and everything still is functioning at Mi Padrino. But and I asked them, do we want to do this? And they were like, yes, let's do it. And so it was like, all hands in, go team, let's do this. Like, we don't know what we're doing, like everything else, but we figured it out. So I don't know, it's just really like loving your team, but also seeing those opportunities. And kind of that, like, even though I was like, I think I cried every single day, like for a year, because it's like, again, I'm not paying myself. I'm trying to pay my team. There were some really hard cuts we ended up having to make. But at the end of the day, just like loving on your team and your customers. I don't know if it's just magic or I don't know.
It'll help you get through. The dream work.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's right.
Feel it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's really cool. So talk a little bit about what you're doing now.
So an
influencer.
Yeah, accident influencer. So when the company was acquired, I stayed with that company for a year during the transition. And at the same time, I was an entrepreneur in residence at both the University of Michigan through their Desai Accelerator and MSU Research Foundation through their Conquer Accelerators. And it was just mainly, I was getting paid a little bit of money to come and mentor some startups. And I was like, this is cool. Like, can I do this full time? And so when my contract ended, I went to the team at MSU at the Research Foundation and said, is there maybe a more permanent role for me here? I have 5 kids. Like, do you pay for college? Like, what, what benefits? And yeah, so I took a position there where I lead new programs for the Conquer Accelerator. And I actually heard this analogy from the founder of HubSpot the other day when they were talking about like how entrepreneurs sometimes get a bad rap because they're always dabbling in something, even though like the founder of HubSpot does not need to make another dollar. Yeah, he's always dabbling in something new. And he's like, but in any other industry, think about like celebrities, like actresses, or even like if you think about NBA players, on their off season or on their weekends, they might be like shooting hoops. They might be shooting free throws. They might be working out. They might be watching their weight because it's all about making them, the expert or the professional in their field. Yet as entrepreneurs, we're looked at crazy, like we're greedy or something because we're always going after the next thing. For me, it's just sharpening my skills. So when I was doing this role at MSU, I thought, well, gosh, I'm not doing anything in the world anymore. And my love language is all things marketing. Even though I was never the face of the brands in the past, I was helping lead those marketing teams. And so I'm like, I've been coaching these companies about utilizing video and social media. I know nothing about this app that the kids are using called TikTok. And so went to my teenage daughter and I was like, how do I sign up for an account? Because I need to see if I can figure out how to boost a video or how the algorithm works or if, analytics, I need to know how it works so I can actually mentor these teams well. And so I remember I put my name as Kim Gamez 301 or something. And she was like, ugh, mom, no. And I'm like, fine. So she took my phone and she's like, Kimmy G. And I'm like,
I remember this so well. This is so
and I'm
funny.
like, sis, am I a stripper? Am I a rapper? What? And she's like, no, mom, you're good. And she's like, nobody's going to see it anyway. You're too old to be on TikTok. I'm like, then make sure you block me because your friends might see me. So I remember I was talking about just silly things like real estate investing. I don't know, anything that just came to mind. I was like, I'm going to see if I could use this app. And again, I was thinking none of my friends are on here, so nobody will know that I'm doing this. And so my mom at that time, who struggles with alcoholism, we moved her in with us. And I was like, Mom, this sober curious thing is a movement. There's all these options out there. We should do a video review because I'd seen a lot of those on TikTok. So I prop up a phone and I'm like, one of the products had CBD in it. And I'm like, oh my God, Mom, are we going to get high? And she's like, girl, you're not going to get high. I'm like, how do you know? And she's like, oh, what? And I'm like, oh, you've done drugs. It was I'm like, it all unfolded online with my phone up. And so people online were saying, or on the video, comments were like, Kim, you're a moron. How do you not know the CBD doesn't get you high? Go back to your day job, whatever. So anyway, we're trying these products and half of the products that we would try were garbage and half of them were really good. And some of them that we found out were really good had hemp-derived THC. And I'm like, how is this legal? How are these products able to be shipped to me? Like, what is going on? And I found out that there was this farm bill to make these products federally legal that a lot of people call a loophole. So they were not marijuana-derived, they're hemp-derived. And 2 milligrams, this very low amount, actually makes you feel like you've had wine. Like, it's just very relaxing wine-like buzz. And I'm like, why is no one talking about this? And so I realized on the other end of that camera, moms, just like me, who were raised in the DARE era, were like, girl, but like, did you get stoned? Like, did you get the munchies? People would DM me, like, where could I buy these? And so I was like, there is something here. And I knew the videos were doing really well. And so I was like, maybe there's something here. And me just being nosy, I'm like, I want to actually track how many sales we're sending to these brands. So I threw up a landing page with all these different affiliate links so then I could actually track conversions because I'm now a nerd. And I'm like, Mom, I wonder if we're selling like a couple $1,000s a month of these products. Like, how cool would that be? Because we're like impacting these startups because they're all startups.
Influencing.
And we were like just really enjoying like getting free product and making funny videos. And so I'm like,
A good time.
yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
So that was August of 2 years ago. So it was just now 2 years. And threw up that page. We did $60,000 in that first month.
Shut up.
And I
Of
was
affiliate
like,
links?
Yeah, no, I mean not our, but like we did $60,000 in sales for the brands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, so I could like track conversions. I'm like, oh my, damn it. And Mom's like, what? And I'm like, this isn't a hobby, this is a business. Like, what?
Wow.
So then, because I cannot stop, then I was like, oh, now I have to build it. Now I have to like do the thing, son of a, and so I built by myself what is now Soberish. So from that August to I wanted to launch in January for Dry January. And TikTok banned my account in December because, I'm selling drugs online. So at least that's what they see. And so I'm like, well,
which is
dang
wild because it feels
Yeah,
like anything
insane.
goes on TikTok.
Really, honestly.
I mean, anything goes, and you're so,
Right.
right. Like,
yes, I had my
apparently
clothes on. I was like, I don't know,
it
but
seems
yes,
crazy.
And so
And how many followers did you have that you lost?
50,000. And at the time, I had literally like 123 followers on Instagram, like my own person, because I hadn't shown anything there, and literally my friends and family on Facebook. So I'm like, dang it, I just spent all this time building this really cool platform, and I think there's something there. So again, Coach Kim at the university, like, well, girl, if there's an opportunity, there still is an opportunity just because you don't have followers. And so coach myself back into like, start another TikTok account. Okay, I'll reuse that content over on Instagram and that will automatically feed my Facebook. Hopefully my friends and family don't like unfollow me because I'm so cringy, whatever. Let's just see how it goes. So that was 18 months ago. I now have almost 200,000 followers on TikTok. I have over 200,000 followers on Instagram. I have almost 250,000 followers on Facebook following me on this crazy journey. What is translated to when we launched Soberish, we wanted to maybe do $100,000 in the first year. We did $1 million organic without paid spend ads. It's been
Get it, girl.
crazy. Me just wanting to like sharpen my skills. I'm like, I don't know why this is working, but okay. And then we just are hitting now like the $5 million mark in revenue this year.
Unbelievable. I mean, I remember, Kim, you sitting at the lab at like trying to figure out the manufacturing issue with this.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what you were going to call it and kind of like throwing names out there. You invited me to your house to do like kind of like a trial thing. I couldn't come. I wish I could have. But it's like, it's so cool to watch you restart and make something successful over and over and over again. It's just you have such a talent with that. It's so fun to watch you. One of the questions I have, and I think a lot of our entrepreneurs struggle with, is what you're saying, is posting content on their social media and feeling cringy about their friends and family seeing it, and they don't do it because of that. How do you get over that hump? I think that's something that people struggle with every day.
Well, for me, I saw the opportunity was potentially too great. And so I was just like, Kim, just swallow your pride and try it. Like, I'm literally telling founders, just post content, tell your story. Yeah, I don't want to do it. And so I'm like, I'll do it. Like, and then I realized it worked, that like my friends and family were supporting me. But I also realized when I was looking at the analytics that over 90% of the people watching my videos were non-followers. And so I'm like, my friends aren't even watching me. Like, all of these other humans, I reach right now over 30 million people a month on social media. I don't have that many friends. Like, like they're not like, and my friends, if anything, They might not even be customers, but hopefully, I would hope that the people who follow me and my close friends and family, that maybe when they hear about somebody who's looking for an alternative to alcohol, they're like, you should follow like my friend Kim.
Right.
You know, have you heard of this company called Soberish? Like, I don't expect my friends and family to be customers, but hopefully they're at least evangelists for me out in the world. And if they don't know what I'm doing, then how can they do that?
Right.
So
exactly.
I mean, while we're on the topic, would you give like a minute just on if someone was trying to build a brand that way, build a following that way? Like, this is complicated, hard stuff that people don't realize how much work goes into it. And just talk a little bit about your tips and tricks and what you did and how it worked.
Well, first, it's not that complicated. It's putting up your phone and telling your story.
Yeah.
You know, I was just talking to some founders this week, and one was winning a big check in Detroit. And he's like, how do I talk about it? And I'm like, don't just post the check. You're going to put your phone up in the morning, maybe while you're shaving, and just be like, I'm so nervous. Like, I don't know why, like how I got picked, but I am like incredibly honored to be winning this check today. I think they're going to ask me to say something, but for everybody that's watching, like, thank you so much for being a part of this with me. Was he selling anything? No. But people would probably say, what is Jonathan doing? Which his company's called Spelling Safari. He's connected with a bunch of teachers. Maybe just that little bit of something was enough for them to see what he was doing and maybe even buy his product. So it's not all about selling. It's just like telling your journey as a founder. Also like using, reusing content. So if you're going to post something somewhere, if you cannot post it somewhere else or reuse it in an email on your website, for example, if I'm going to do a recipe video of us using product, I can do a long form where I'm like talking into the camera and saying like, today's recipe is this, blah, 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 blah. Then I can put it on my website and have SEO value. So the next time somebody's looking up like non-alcoholic strawberry margarita, hopefully my blog or that recipe shows up, but I embed that video on the site. Then I can also put it in an email. I can say, hey, customers, this week Kim made a strawberry margarita. Insert GIF of that photo or of that whatever. Maybe link it to Instagram or link it back to the website where it's hosted. And then if you have any cool stats, maybe throw it on LinkedIn. Hey, LinkedIn, I posted this video. Guess what? I got this many new followers, I figured out this was the hook, some type of lesson learned on LinkedIn. And for me, this recipe video I'm talking about is a real thing. I had Fox News reach out and say, hey, I heard you're like the mocktail queen. Can you come and do this Fox Live with us doing this like 45-minute session and doing a mocktail on the air with us for Christmas Eve? And I was like, so I then said, yes, would you like this one? And I sent them that link. Instead of like coming up with a new cocktail, I said, this one did really well, it went really viral. Like, would you like me to do something like this? And they're like, yes. So I used and reused that content. And so because as founders, you only have so much time.
Right.
And so you don't want to do something for an email that you can't use anywhere else. Like, take a minute and think about something that you can use and reuse. And even of that recipe, I did a video of me talking to the camera, showing the recipe. Then I took that same video, removed my voice, sped it up into like 16 seconds. It did some like text on screen, like point of view, making soberish cocktails for my girlfriends for Valentine's Day. You know, like who said being responsible couldn't be fun? Then maybe I do some like outtakes of that, whatever, like as a founder, like outtake, I don't know, anything. But you can use that same video and bust it up into like a million different things. Right. So the biggest takeaway or the like thing is just do it, because you also don't know, you might think, like for me, everyone's gonna wanna know a soberish recipe. People don't care about soberish recipes. What I found is that people care about my life as a restaurant owner, that I know how to cook, that I'm married to a Mexican man who also I have all these authentic Mexican recipes. And so people like recipes. The general public likes to know what to make for dinner. So I make recipes, and guess what? Mid-recipe, when I'm waiting for some casserole to cook in the oven, I'm like, while that's cooking, let's make a soberish cocktail that'll give you a buzz without the booze in 5 to 10 minutes. Make my cocktail, move on. I'm not like, hey, I'm Kim, founder of Sober. No, I don't do that.
Right.
And so it's the selling without selling, leaning into what's working, try to bring it back to the brand without always introducing yourself as a founder, and just being real. People like to see the stories behind the brands.
Yeah.
So whether you're like, for me today, I talked about how my kids got in a car accident, you know?
Right.
I didn't say that I'm the founder of Soberish. I didn't say anything about that. But somebody might see that video and be like, who is this Kimmy G?
Right.
What? And then they might stumble upon a recipe video, or they might stumble upon me like getting an award, and they're like, huh,
The brand
what
is your
this?
personality.
Yeah, it is. And so
It's your dynamic and fun to watch.
oh, thanks. But yeah, don't go out with assumptions that the different pillars or the types of content people will like. Just throw so much at the wall and then take a step back and say, that worked. I should do more of that. Why did that work? Or look at your competitors and say, what made those videos work? Was it the hook? Was it the style of video? Was it the captions? Was it the quick cuts? Like, you have to look at a lot of things and then see if you can do it on your own. I do everything from my phone, and I do it the second that I film. So like this morning, I took a video of the airbags inside my daughter's car. I sat there in the car and edited the video with my thumbs because I'm like, I'm only gonna be wearing this hoodie today. As women, we look different every day with our hair and makeup and everything else. So I need to make sure I don't need to like say something else in camera, and then I just posted it. And I'll see if it resonates. And if people like that, maybe I'll do another video about the car accident, or maybe, I don't know.
You're going to stage another
I'm
car
gonna,
accident.
no, I'm not gonna stage, but maybe I'll talk about something. I don't know, but yeah, no, don't say that.
No, I
What
mean,
great
you
advice.
Sorry, was
have
that
it-
what?
That's
no,
great
that's
advice.
amazing. Yes, and I mean, you did the workshop for some of our founders last year on how to create and reuse that content. I think it was one of the best things we've done, and so hopefully we can get you to come do that again this year, because I don't think most people know that stuff, and so you've figured out a way to do it really well, to be authentic, and to use it to grow your businesses. So it's pretty cool.
So awesome.
Maybe just as we're winding up here, thinking about the journey that you've been on, like what are some of the biggest things you've learned? Just like wrap it all up for us. Like what are some of the biggest things you learned from literally being a 19, 20-year-old person who bought a restaurant and took a total risk, made a down payment on a property, baby on the way, to where you are now? Just, you've succeeded in real estate and in software and in e-commerce, and you're a mom, and you have, great kids and wife and all that stuff. Like, just what have been some of the takeaways for you on the journey?
It's really hard. People say it all the time, but if it was easy, everyone would do it. It is so hard. But man, and it's not the money reward. I'd hate to say that. Like, I haven't even paid myself from Soberish. Like, I keep the money in the company. Like, I'm like, oh, let's just grow this. Let's see actually how far we can take it. It's not about the money. I mean, which is great. I mean, good, great if you make a lot of money at it. But it's like the lives that you can impact, whether it's your platform is helping someone like Soberish. We get so many customers that are saying that like our product is like helping them with their sobriety, or that they are going through menopause and it's like the only thing that's helping them sleep at night. Like, which we're not making any medical claims, but there's so many things like that you're like impacting your customers. Like, I remember at the restaurants at Ugo's, we had a banquet facility. We had anything from funerals to weddings. And so just being a part of those like events for people, for quinceañeras, to be able to like know that I maybe played a very small part in keeping that tradition alive for a culture and for a community that I love so much. Like all of that, like, it's just so freaking cool, like to be a part of it. But I also hope that me, a woman in Little Jackson, Michigan, with a whole slew of babies, can show every little girl out there who says, do I need to be a stay-at-home mom, or can I actually try to like live that dream? Hopefully I am evidence for them that you can do it both, and you can thrive and be successful, and your kids will be amazing humans, and you will be the best mom, but you can also be the best entrepreneur. And I love being like, I am woman, hear me roar, but girls, we are on a playing field with boys, so we have to play with the boys. We're not against the boys. Sit at that table, own your spot. Don't whine that you're a girl. Don't do it.
Yep.
You're playing with the boys. We're going to win like the boys. And so hopefully I'm just a reflection of that, and hope for those out there looking to, whether you're a girl or a guy, whether, to take that next step to, build that dream or that product that you want to see in the world.
You are, Kim. You are, because you are for me.
Oh,
So, I mean, I don't have kids, but I've watched you. Remember the first time I met you? I came up to you and I was like, oh my God, Kim, I have been meaning to meet you. And you were like, well, why didn't you just come up and talk to me? I was like, I don't know, you're scary.
I mean,
Not
I do
anymore,
have resting
but-
bitch face, I've heard. So I'm just kidding.
Not anymore, but I can absolutely say you're doing that. We are so lucky to have somebody like you in this community to look up to, and to be inspirational for us to be able to do that. Because like you said, there aren't many. You're like a unique unicorn over here, you Soberish queen. So thank you so much for committing yourself to this community and doing it here. Honestly, really appreciate that a lot.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for being the second guest on our podcast.
Yes, girl.
I'm so thankful you guys invited me. Like, this is so much fun.
It's
It
awesome.
was fun. It was fun.
These are the kind of stories that we wanted to tell. Wanted people to be inspired by it and hear about it. And I feel encouraged just sitting here right now. Like, it's, 9 9:30 in the morning. I'm about to go tackle the day.
Yeah.
Go get it.
So-
Get after it.
Let's go. So thank you, Kim.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And that's another episode of Startup Storytelling Podcast here by the Lean Rocket Lab. A huge thank you to Kimmy G, aka Kim Gamez. Thank you, Kim. And don't forget to subscribe to our channels wherever you get your podcast. We'll be back next time with another incredible entrepreneurial story. Bye.